much. I'm so excited to moderate this session on innovative AI tools that are demonstrating how technology can help us address polarization, fact-checking, and conflict resolution in a more effective and data-driven way. So today you will learn about the specific features of these tools, their specific users, personas that they are targeting, the impact that they were able to achieve so far, as well as what has been most challenging in this journey. My name is Antonella Guidocchio. I have been building digital products for underserved communities through co-creation, trauma-informed design, and responsible frameworks for decades. I have the pleasure to be one of the co-hosts of the Council on Tech and Social Cohesion Hub on LLMs and AI agents, together with Mohamed, who I will be introducing in a minute. One of the goals of the Hub on LLMs and AI agents is actually to map and showcase successful applications of AI in improving social cohesion. So today you will gain a taste of it. At the end, I will also be sharing our contact details. We would love to make this community bigger, so feel free to reach out. Also, we are still in the lookout of other digital examples across the globe. So if you have suggestions, we will definitely be welcoming them. With that, let's get started. So let me introduce Shawn Guttman, founder and CEO of Didi, who is calling us from Israel, as well as Mohamed Doumbia, founder and CEO of Immersia, who is calling us from Mali. What we're gonna do is start with the demos, and then we will open the floor for questions. So if you have thoughts, questions, feel free to post it in the chat, and then I will do my best to moderate the session. So with that, Shawn, do you want to get us started?
Perfect. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, thanks everyone. Thanks for inviting me. My name is Shawn Guttman. I'm the founder and CEO of Didi. We're an Israeli-based seed-level peace tech startup making AI-powered tools that help make the processes of conflict resolution and social change more pragmatic. So for the next 10 minutes or so, what I'm going to do is walk you through what we do, how we do it, some case studies from the last 20 months of our algorithms operating in Israel within the context of the war between Israel and Palestine and within the region, and hopefully also get to talking about our pilot program, measuring the impact of the People's Peace Summit on public discourse in Israel, and hopefully have time to show data from up to date from last night about what's going on in Israel after the ceasefire with Iran. The idea for Didi is sort of born out of this question of how do you measure the ripple effect of actions? I come from a background of grassroots education and peace building, and we always had great ways of measuring our direct impact on people. How participants respond to our education, to our actions, to our campaigns. But then ultimately, the end goal of what we're doing is trying to make a peace treaty happen. And so long as that doesn't happen, then we're all left with this feeling of, okay, so is what we're doing actually working? How do we understand our effect? How do we understand our impact? And how do we learn from it and actually become more pragmatic? So what we're trying to focus in on is how do we measure this ripple effect in order to be providing our clients with real-time pragmatic data-based insight into what they're doing so that they can pivot and adapt and evolve as quickly as conditions around us are changing. But beyond that, and something especially that we feel here in Israel and Palestine around peace building is it's not only about doing the right action, it's also about doing the right thing at the right time. And how do we know when that moment is? How do we identify when the right time to make a big push is, and avoid the negative consequences that can happen when you do the right thing at the wrong time? So what we've developed at Didi is what we like to call our traffic light for peace. And at its basic level, it's literally a traffic light, and as we keep going, as we get to the end, I'll show you what it actually looks like. But the idea is that with this traffic light, green light shows public support is there. Public support is in favor of peace, of social change, of conflict resolution, and now is the time to push forward. Yellow light, no, let's wait. There's opportunities that can be used to push public opinion and public support towards adopting peace. And red light, no, no, no. Don't waste your resources. You have the potential of making the situation worse. Focus in on what you're doing on the ground. But more than that, what we can, in the next level of the traffic light for peace is then looking at how all of our different clients, all the NGOs and local political actors and so on, seeing how they're influencing that light changing colors, see how what they're doing is actually affecting public opinion and public discourse. And from there, measuring their impact and understanding their impact. I wrote myself a note. I was watching the Institute for Economics and Peace launch their Global Peace Index yesterday, and what I was thinking through it is, another way of describing our traffic light for peace is we're like the Global Peace Index, but we're operating in real time, day to day, without having to compile data and so on. So how do we do this? We start with big data. We're scraping data from news media, social media, and political discourse, and augmenting with data sources that aren't represented within those easily taken data sets. For what we're doing right now in the data that I'll show you, we're focusing in on Israeli news media only, just because we're a seed-level company and that's what our finances allowed for us. So we're scraping. So right now, what we're doing is we're scraping every news article in 60 different Israeli news media sources every day and putting it through our AI. The AI we're using in order to process and process the data quickly and efficiently using localized training databases. So we have a Hebrew training database that was created by Jewish Israelis, and we have our Arabic training database that was created by Palestinians. So the idea is not to necessarily get rid of bias, but to focus that bias in within those groups. I'm trying to avoid things like what Israelis think of Palestinians and what Palestinians think of Israelis. So separating the training databases. And then our analytical models are based on academic theories from social sciences. The toolkit that we're using today is based on ripeness theory for negotiations, trying to understand when moments of ripeness happen, and then both identifying those moments of ripeness and understanding how our clients are helping to contribute to ripeness and understanding their impact that way. So just a little bit on ripeness theory. My co-founder Karen, she likes to describe ripeness as a banana. It's not ripe, it's not ripe, it's not ripe. Then all of a sudden it's ripe, and then the next day it's rotten. So it's all about finding when the right time to negotiate, to push for that change is, because according to the theory and according to its applications, when you have a moment of ripeness, there's a higher chance for negotiations happening, for those negotiations to be successful, and for it to be ratified down the road. And what I love about the theory is that it's not focusing in on objective truth and fact. It's trying to understand subjectivity and perception, what people are thinking and feeling, and really get into the complexity and nuance of what's going on. So you have a moment of ripeness when there's a mutually hurting stalemate together with a perceived way out. So both sides are stuck in a stalemate, and that stalemate is hurting them. And there's a perception that there's a non-military solution to this conflict. We broke those down into a number of different parameters that we created the training databases to find. And there's a whole plethora of other different parameters that in the future we'll be adding in. But for now, we're focusing in this presentation, I'll focus in on the mutually hurting stalemate and way out. What I'll be showing you now is getting into some graphs. Just how do you read the graphs? On the x-axis is the date. All the graphs that I'll show you are aggregated by day, so it's the counts every day. And on the y-axis, you have the number of articles in that day that referenced each of our parameters. And you can have a news article that references multiple parameters, and you can even have news articles that reference contradictory parameters, because the way that we write, the way that we talk is more complicated, and so we're looking for all of these things together, and again trying to put out as much of a complex and nuanced analysis as possible. So according to ripeness theory, we've had 4 different moments of ripeness in the last 20 months of war. The 2 ceasefires with Gaza, the ceasefire with Hezbollah in the north, and the ceasefire with Iran that was negotiated a couple days ago, with an interesting question mark there, and I'll get to it at the end when we get to those graphs. But these are the basis. This is how we know how to define the local versions of ripeness to understand and to come to our clients with information about. So here, this is looking at the first ceasefire in Gaza. Over here, you can see this is the 7th of October, 2023, when the war started. And over here, we have the ceasefire. So this blue line representing the Israeli sentiment of a willingness to compromise. You can see how at the beginning of the war, it's overall very low. And as Israel isn't succeeding in both ending the war, returning the hostages, and so on, you can see the sentiment of a willingness to compromise to achieve our goals rising and rising, and providing that political support to Prime Minister Netanyahu's government to negotiate it. In this moment, what we're seeing is what we like to call a mini moment of ripeness, because this orange line at the bottom of expressing the sentiment of the Israeli skepticism of winning militarily is very low, is very weak, and continues to be weak for pretty much the entirety of the war. So what we see within this moment is, in terms of our traffic light, you have a green light to negotiate a ceasefire, but you didn't have a green light to negotiate the end of the war, and that's what we saw happen. We see it again within the second ceasefire with Gaza. Here on the left is the 1st of January 2025. Here's when the ceasefire starts, and you can see that sentiment of a willingness to compromise increasing, and it's agreed upon. And then over time it goes down. What's interesting here is and I'll go one step further. Each of these black lines represents, as a part of that ceasefire deal, when there was a hostage exchange, and when Israeli hostages were returned in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. And every time that happened, it was both a relief for Israelis and a massively traumatizing event. And you can see how this red line at the top here, which represents the hurt and suffering within Israeli society, you can see it go up and down every time. So on one hand, this good thing happened where there was a ceasefire, where there was momentum, but the experience of it also became a challenge, also became something that became almost anti-peace. And that kind of information is what we want to be providing to our clients. How do you pivot? How do you adapt with what's going on around you in the moment? For the sake of time, I'll jump forward to Iran, to the last couple of days. So here, on the left-hand side is May 1st, and this is going up to midnight last night. And here's where the Iran war started. So what's interesting here is as the ceasefire is being negotiated, this line right here, that's where the ceasefire started. That willingness to compromise line just didn't exist. It wasn't present in order to enable the ceasefire to happen. So in this moment, we're seeing, there's a moment of ripeness, but that moment of ripeness existed only within the political context. It existed only between Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Trump and all of that. But since the ceasefire happens, we can see this uptick of a willingness to compromise line, and also the start of the uptick of a skeptical of winning line. So if I'm imagining our actually, I'll pause on that thought for a second and jump forward. So here's, this is what our traffic light for peace looks like. In the center, you have, what color light it is. On the right-hand side, it's talking about discourse and relating discourse about a way out, about a willingness to compromise. On the left-hand side, you have discourse about confidence in the military being able to win and hurt and so on. The colors in this are all logically oriented. So, for instance, confident in winning, if it's green, it means that sentiment is going down. If it's red, it means that sentiment is going up, and the opposite for impossibility of winning. If it's green, that means that sentiment is going up, and so on. So we update our ripeness, our traffic light for peace, our ripeness index every Friday. So this is looking at, this is from last Friday, compares last week to the week before. And what we're seeing is ever since the war started, that pro-war, pro-military sentiment has become very strong, which happens every time after fighting renews within this context of the war. We're seeing that the hurt sentiment is still very strong, is still very green and present. But before the war with Iran started, willingness to compromise and firmness not to compromise and way out were all green. And now it's gone red. What I'm imagining, what I was about to say before, is that my prediction is that this Friday, when we read it again, the way outside is going to go back to being green, and the impossibility of winning is potentially going to turn yellow. And this, in the grand scheme of things, will be the closest to a moment of ripeness that we've seen in the last 20 months. Should I stop here, Antonella, or do I have another second?
Yeah, I think it would be great if we can leave space for Mohamed. Maybe we can post it in the chat and send to everyone. Thank you for checking in. Mohamed, do you want to share your tools?
Yes. Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there you
go. Okay. Hi, everyone. Really good to be here with you guys. So, as Antonella said, my name is Mohamed Doumbia. I'm joining from Mali. For those who don't know, we're in the western part of Africa, next to Senegal or Côte d'Ivoire and Burkina Faso. So, as she also said, I am the co-host of the LLM and AI Agents Hub. So we are trying to make this hub really vibrant, as she already mentioned it. So the tool that I'm going to be presenting today is called CheckIA. It's in French, so in English it will be Check AI. So we built this with our organization, which is called Immersia. So Immersia is a regional nonprofit that is trying to really demystify AI and build local talent capacity, and also doing that through workshops and policy dialogues in the region. So our main goal is to really empower the citizens in the region using AI and make sure that all individuals and organizations use AI in the most responsible and ethical way. So we want AI to be, and tech as a whole, to be a tool that unite people and not divide them. So let's start with a landscape of the information within the region. So we really have a conflict-prone region right now with countries like Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger that face armed conflict. And there were coups in all of these countries. So it's a really conflictual situation and in a really geopolitical, hard geopolitical situation as well. So social media use is booming, but traditional media is also shrinking at the same time. And everyone is just trying to prove their point. So everyone is just trying to have these sort of campaigns to have their influence on the region. So we also have influences coming from foreign countries as well. So and with the with the boom of AI, we have really these deep fakes going everywhere on the internet. So it's really a problem here that is amplifying rumors and fear. So why does this matter for social cohesion? So there is strong inter-community mistrust, but that started a while ago. It started since 2010 or 2012, especially in Mali with two communities, the Dogon community and also the Fulani community that they call Peul in French. So there is a lot of mistrust between these communities because there is a lot of conflict in the central region of Mali, but the same thing is happening in Burkina Faso and Niger as well. So there is this erosion of confidence deriving from that, and people lack trust in state institutions and also peace processes. Yeah, I'm sure you're all familiar with the removal of UN forces from Mali, and I think this is one of the results of that. And there's also a really strong mobilization by extremist groups and also, I mean, ill-minded political actors that do not have the interest of their countries at their heart. So these extremist groups are recruiting young people in villages because and they spread information that they cannot trust the local government. So there is this mistrust in the state institutions, as I just mentioned. In terms of specific problem that we are tackling with CheckIA, people are really lacking capacity in terms of verifying information. So we have a strong amount of information going all over in social media, but people cannot verify this information. So you have people taking content from Facebook, for instance, and bringing that to the WhatsApp groups, and you have this really fast spread of misinformation. Manual checks in terms of fact-checking take hours or days sometimes for people that are not really familiar with the best techniques of fact-checking. And many citizens lack access to credible French language tools. Most of the tools that you have access to are English-based. So this is also a problem that we are trying to tackle. So what is our solution? CheckIA, sorry? Okay, so CheckIA is a web and mobile platform that lets anyone test the claim. So you can do that by just using text with a URL, or you can use an image. You can even verify the authenticity of images and have this sort of AI detector in terms of images. So you have an instant verdict. Is it true, false, or uncertain? And you have a clear explanation on why we consider this to be true or not. And this is done in plain language. And you also have cited sources for verified information. So we're only doing that for verified information. When an information is not true, we just provide you with the sources, but we don't keep them. But for every verified information, we keep the claim and we keep the sources. So we have a library of verified facts. So the intent is to build this for Francophone Africa, but we want to extend this to our local languages, starting with Bambara and Fulani, that are two major languages spoken in the whole region. So how does this work? The user just has to copy and paste a text or upload a photo and just press check. So in return, they get a color-coded answer with top sources and a shareable link that they can share back to their network. So these are some of our target personas. So we think this tool could be used for community radio hosts in villages or rural areas. And we think that it could help them verify fact and spread the right information on air. It could also be useful for youth on TikTok a lot of young people spend hours and hours on TikTok here. So we think this tool can be helpful for them to verify information that they find on there. Also, we are targeting local journalists. Some of them have already been trained on how they can use fact-checking tool to verify information with the help of NGOs such as Search for Common Ground here. I know they do a lot of good work with the local journalists and influencers as well. We believe that even the government bodies can use this tool because I was working as a government comms officer for 2 years myself, and I had to sort of counter a lot of fake statements every day. So I think that this tool can be useful for that as well. And the last one is the civil society mediator that works on hate speech trends. So we think that the tool can be useful for them as well. So in terms of early reach and impact, this is a tool that is in a beta phase, and this is intentional because we want to make sure that we make the platform ready for the users, but also that it really responds to the demand on the field, and also identify key partners that we can deploy this platform with. And for this process, we are currently trying to work with the UNICEF local office, and we applied for a UNICEF Innovation Fund grant, and we are waiting for the responses soon to start deploying the platform. Well, so we did some early tests with professional fact checkers so that we make sure that the platform really integrates all of the best practices in terms of fact checking. So we believe that the platform can contribute to social cohesion in terms of reduction of the rural lifespan from days to minutes, and it can build shared evidence base for media with our verified fact library, and also for officials and citizens. We really think that it can also construct a better online dialogue, so that users can share reliable sources and stop insulting each other, because this is something that happens a lot on social platforms here. So we believe that success could look like for us in the next year with a public beta live in 6 Francophone Sahel countries. As I mentioned, we are really targeting Francophone countries. We really want to bridge this gap in terms of language access with the AI usage. So we also want to try and deploy this to WhatsApp and Telegram so people can really check information really fast. And we also want to partner up with some radio or news websites so that they can use a CheckIA badge or a widget to actually be able to verify information on their platform. And also, we want to be able to document reduction in terms of misinformation fueled incidents in the region as well. So in terms of partnerships, we are looking for media companies, CSO, and also policymakers, but also tech builders. We are partnering up with 2 communities here that work in AI, in the AI industry. Those 2 communities are called Maliba AI. It's a community of AI and tech builders that are all Malians, but do not necessarily live here in Mali. So we want to work with them in terms of NLP and Bambara language introduction, and also Fulani integration to the platform. So that's it for the theoretical demo. So I'm going to be using the rest of the time. I'm not sure how much time do I have left, but I just wanted to show you the platform and have a quick test of the platform, if that's okay.
Yes, we have time. We're going to go until 2:30, so we have about 9 minutes left.
All right. Okay. Good. Let me know if y'all can see the platform.
Yeah, we can see it.
All right, so this is just basically the homepage. Not a lot of information there, but let's go straight to the point and see. So here I just have a few examples that I put together that we can check. So we try to make it as simple as possible for people to verify information. So I'm going to be inputting the claim in English, but all of the responses are given back in French, actually. So this is a news about Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger officially rejoining ECOWAS on 22 June 2025. So if I had a URL, I could have used one, but since I don't have one, I'm just going to be inputting the claim like that. So the AI is going to work on this claim and go and gather resources to verify the information and get back to me in a matter of, from 20 to 30 seconds with the results, and also some of the links or some of the sources that it has used to verify this information. So as we go, we are going to try and make this faster for the user and also make it really easy to use for them as well. So this is in French. I'm sorry, but it's just saying that this is a doubtful information that Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger did not join back the ECOWAS, and it mentioned some of the events related to ECOWAS that happened lately regarding these countries. So these are 5 of the sources that have been used to verify this information. Since the information happened to be false, we are not going to be keeping this information nor the links. So if the user wants, you can just start typing another claim. So this time we are going to be getting this information from a website. President Tinubu just signed 4 tax bills into law, so I can launch the verification here. So the same thing. Okay, I'm sorry, it's working with the cache, so I have to refresh the page quickly. So same process, but hopefully different results as we're getting this information from what I believe to be a reliable source. So as I mentioned, it takes about 20 to 30 seconds every time to verify information. So in terms of architectures, what we have here, we start with the first layer of an open source model that we got from Hugging Face, a Roberto model that has been trained on verifying information. It's a fact checker model, actually. And then we have 2 to 3 different layers that go on internet and fetch sources and scrape information from these sources, and we have an extra layer that analyzes all of the information based on what is the result from the Roberta model, and analyze all of the data that we have to decide whether this information is reliable or not. So as we just see, this is a reliable information. So if I go back to our library, I should be seeing this information. I'm not sure, let me see. Okay, there seems to be a problem here, but this is how it works. I have to go and work that around a bit. But also we have 2 options to work with image information. So I can use an image input here. So I'm going to be using this flowed image. And here I have a claim that this is from 2025, and it is an image from Niger, and this was due to the Gudel Dam Bridge. So I can verify this information as well. So here, the thing is that we are using both the image and the text to verify a claim. So this is different from the text-based, the sole text-based analysis that we just performed. So as we see, so I have a confidence score of 90%. And I have a really detailed analysis based on the image and based on the text that I provided. and the tool gives me a result saying that this claim doesn't seem to be correct. So basically, this is what CheckIA can do. We also have the AI detection tool, but for the sake of time, we are not going to perform this. So thank you. I'm open to questions or suggestions.
Wonderful. Thank you both. Okay. I think, Shawn, thank you for jumping in and responding to many of the questions. Is there any reflection that you want to make of any of them? I know that there was one at the beginning asking you about how you go through the challenges of like when you scrape data, sometimes there are walls. So how do you overcome that?
Yeah, so a lot of those questions are the things that I want to be figuring out as we move down the road. You know, like I said, we're a seed level startup, so we only have the money to be able to do a limited amount of things. And a lot of that is, you know, is the ability to check what's going on in news media against what's going on in social media, against what's going on in political discourse. And to be able to, and for each of those data sets, to be able to check each other and to see, okay, is what's happening in one, is that localized there, and therefore, you know, hype or social media bubbles or so on, or is it actually reflected across all data sets and therefore more representative and more indicative of what people are thinking and feeling and public sentiment and so on. And then yeah, lots of other questions of, you know, especially in Israel, like I think of the religious Jewish population in Israel isn't very much represented online, you know. So how do we get data sets that are reflective of them, and imagining future steps of being able to, you know, gather printed newspapers in Yiddish and run them through character recognition and then put them in through our algorithms. So these are all things that we're figuring out as we take our next steps forward, and hopefully for the next expo, I'll be able to have more, you know, better answers to these things.
Thank you. Mohamed, I have a lot of questions for you around how are you driving engagement and adoption, and if you're thinking through partnerships. And I'll mix that with a few questions that you got also, if you can share any insights around how do you define reliable sources. And then probably if you want to share maybe via email with some people that have asked about your experience doing fact-checking in like different languages.
All right. So in terms of, I'll start with how we decide which source is reliable or not. The thing is that we are really looking at different sources. So a lot of up to 10 different sources. So the question about one source being reliable or not is not the most important thing at this point, because we are trying to draw patterns in terms of information. Like if the information is available on multiple sites, we can decide that this information looks a bit more reliable. So the AI is prompted to decide based on the amount of different sources that the AI has, and also based on web search, or a basic web search on this information, that this information is reliable. But as we go using the platform, we build some sort of whitelist of verified media. So this is our intent, to have really a database of verified media that we can use as we go. So basically, that's what we are doing right now. So we're using the main media sites to decide whether the information is true or not. And as we go, we're going to be building a verified media database that we are going to be relying on. And also in terms of contextualization, the idea is to have this sort of RAG pipeline with government-based document, public documents that are available per country, so that we can also consult this database of information.
And Antonella, if it's okay, we have one question in the room, I think, and then we can close out. That's okay. Okay, go ahead.
Hi, this question is for Shawn. Shawn, my name is Tamara. I'm with Challenge at Didi in Israel and Palestine. My colleague in Ramallah is also online in the Zoom. I have two questions for you. One is, in one of your first slides, you said a comment about adding Palestine could happen, and my question is, what are the requirements for that, or the limitations? Is it funding or what? And then the second question, based on something you posted in the chat, I'm curious what your relationship is with Tech for Peace. Well, we've just launched a program called Digital Peacekeepers, and my colleague and I are very, very interested in reaching out to you. So thank you for also adding your email.
Yeah, wonderful. Please get in touch. Oh wait, no, I forgot. I thought of the second thing, not the first thing. Oh, right, Palestine. Again, it's it's just our size and our state as a company. We started first building our training database in Hebrew, and then we moved in and gained the first experience from that, and then we started developing our training database in Arabic, and then kind of ran out of money. One of the interesting things that we and so the statistical relevance of our Arabic Palestinian measurements, we just don't trust it enough. If you look in the dashboard, if you sign up for our dashboard, you will see there our Palestinian measurements and so on, because we run it to be able to create the data that we can then review later on. But yeah, it's just a matter of time and putting more money and putting more development into the Arabic training database. There is an interesting question on the data side because Israel is a country. It has a very clear news media. It has very clear, it's clearly defined. Palestinian news media sources are sort of all over the place. Do we add in Al Jazeera? Do we add in other Middle Eastern sources? And if so, then are we understanding what's going on in Palestine, or are we understanding what other Middle Eastern countries think of Palestine and so on? And so it does raise this interesting question that we just never got to. And also on the Palestinian side, what we really need there is social media presence, and not the news media presence. That needs to be reweighted differently.
Thank you.
Can I make a quick plug that I know Shawn won't make for himself?
Sure, go ahead.
Oh, hi, my name is Ola. I am at USIP and I also have a startup called Transcend. Shawn won the Klutz Prize for Peace for Didi, I think 2 years ago. And you've seen his technology, and he's said a few times he's run out of money. So if anyone knows investors or clients who would be willing to buy this, please reach out to Shawn.
Thanks, Ola.
eVentures is also starting to back.
Yeah.
I mean, they are.
Yeah.
But this space is really exploding, and I had the pleasure of knowing Shawn since it started to explode, and he's a good guy trying to do good things.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Ola. So I think we'll call it there. Thank you so much, Shawn, Mohamed, and Tanella. Appreciate your moderation, your framing, and Shawn, Mohamed, thank you so much for your tools and for your remarks. And I'll make sure to capture all the follow-up resources and links you've been sharing in the chat. We will send that to everybody who registered.